Welcome once again to another adventure in my backyard garden. This is the chipmunk who frequents my yard on a daily basis. If you've seen my other videos, you can see I have a garden with a lot of tomatoes, an awful lot of lettuce. Things like oregano are growing, look more like bushes. Ton of kale, even though it's the 4th of July. Sorry for the motorcycles passing by in the background. But I have a lot of food, and so I feed the birds. There's a rabbit, little baby rabbit that comes in. You can see that in the previous video. And I put out peanuts for the chipmunks so they stay out of the garden. And I've done this for a couple years and it really works. The reason I wanted to capture this, and I'm glad he came in today to do this, he will take this peanut and rather than eat it right here on the spot, and I'm telling you this in advance so I don't talk over the moment it happens, but he'll stuff it in one side of his cheek, and then he'll take another one and stuff that in the other side, and it's funny to watch, but that's how they do it. And he does the same with the reason I got these peanuts, because I could buy a big bag of unsalted peanuts for $1, because he was eating all the bird seed. He was just stuffing his face with bird seed, and I rather keep the birds. The bird seed's a little more expensive to be eating in bulk like that. But this isn't a frozen frame. This is just slow motion capture. So they tend to, stop and study and observe. So in slow motion, you're watching, him actually stopped in slow motion. But this is a video, a moving video. But it works, and I don't know, this isn't really just about people who have homestead gardens or backyard gardens, how to keep the critters from getting in your garden or eating your food. Many times it's not so much that they want to eat your food, but the birds will just peck on say a tomato or something like that just to get the moisture out of it. It's another reason why I have a pond, a little pond in my backyard, and the birds do the old hopping from the bird feeder to the pond and take a little drink, and that keeps them from going and pecking at my various fruits and vegetables that I'm growing in the backyard. And it works. Like I say, I haven't really noticed. I occasionally notice a little bit of some pecking on leaves early in the season, but I even understand, like when the cold crops like the lettuces and the kale. But I've noticed that they're also just trying to get some moisture. So it works. There he goes. Decided it's time to grab that peanut. They're very intelligent creatures, this more intelligent than birds, or perhaps not more intelligent than crows, but crows are the only birds that I really have a problem with. Though the robin comes after, I have a robin in the backyard that's nested in a vine growing up the side of my house that actually goes after this chipmunk. And I'm not certain why. Maybe it's afraid it might go after its eggs in its nest or something like that. But they're actually quite friendly creatures, and I wouldn't feed them by hand, but right now I'm literally only a couple feet away from him, and he doesn't seem to care because I've given him peanuts before. So he just kind of looks at me, and he knows that I, send him the peanuts. So here it is, July 4th, 2019. We're in the middle of the beginning of summer. It's in the 80s where I live, which is seasonal. The approaching grand solar minimum is coming. I built my little mini greenhouse, and I have a little place off my back porch inside where I do early seed starting in the house under grow lights. That worked out very well this year. In fact, my entire garden, this is the first year that every plant growing in my garden I grew myself from seed. And some from seeds, like what I would call, I guess, heirlooms, seeds that I've actually consumed the particular fruit or vegetable. So no food shortages here. I've got so much lettuce, I just don't know what to do with it. It's still, a couple of the plants have bolted, but they're still, the other ones are just still yielding a tremendous amount of great lettuce. Still have kale. Still getting some parsley, though that's bolted as well. The oregano, I guess I've got 2 bushes of oregano. Don't know what to do with it. Zucchinis are just starting, a little bit slow. I have a lot of tomatoes. If you look at my Instagram page, I have got my first zucchini, and I'm starting to get some Roma tomatoes and beefsteak tomatoes. They're all green still, but they're starting to fill out, so I anticipate within the next 2 weeks I should have some ripe tomatoes. I'm hoping. The weather seems to be decent for that. But while I'm ranting, there's so much peace and tranquility from just watching the animals, like the chipmunk, or the sound of the birds in the morning when I wake up. I get up real early. I get up between 5 and 6 a.m. and it's just, even though I live just outside of a small city, I would say small to medium-sized city. It's a city that once was, put it that way, an old industrial city that's kind of gone into disrepair. And I'm within the city limits, but at one time this would have been considered outside of the city limits. But it's a neighborhood, busy street, but I planted so much and allowed a lot of stuff to grow wild in my backyard, which isn't really all that big, to tell you the truth, that it's become a sanctuary for many birds and some critters like this. And I really enjoy, the back of my yard is south facing, so I could go out there in the morning, sit in a lounge chair after I water the plants and pull some weeds, and just sit in the sun, soak up that vitamin D, listen to the birds, watch the critters. No smartphone, anything like that. And it's just very peaceful. Nature. And I feel better and healthier, and it's very calming. And meanwhile, you step back into civilization, and it's tweet storms and emails, and demands on you to do this, bills, monthly bills for this, that, the other. Don't pay it within this time and you'll have to pay us a late fee, reconnection fee. It's crazy. I've been trying to simplify as much as possible. I dropped my cable because it was getting out of control, so I watch YouTube. But lately I've been disappointed in YouTube, because not only with the censorship and it seems that a lot of content's just not there anymore, and I don't know why really. But I think a lot of content creators are getting bored with it. You know, particularly a lot of the ones that have made a lot of money. I don't want to name names here, but you know, I used to follow pretty regularly, at least. I don't know. I mean, I looked forward to, like, I watch YouTube using a set-top box on my HD TV. So I used to enjoy towards the end of the day or later in the afternoon, after I'm done outside in the garden and done my work. I work out of the house doing some computer-related graphic design and some web-related work, that kind of stuff. And just to sit there and watch, get absorbed in these, you know, YouTube videos that you're following, kind of almost episodic adventures of various people. But, you know, they've become, I guess some of them become millionaires, or at least they've started to make in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So the videos have almost become, you know, videos of them, you know, living the good life. And instead of them, you know, and I watch a lot of like DIY videos, you know, homesteading videos about people building things, you know, that sort of stuff. And I've just watched that a lot of them have just become like kind of self-centered around themselves, and it's almost as if they're not aware that they built this audience based upon people, you know, wanting to watch them, you know, do these things. And instead now it's almost like they've become narcissists, or, you know, in a sense of thinking, oh wow, I have hundreds of thousands of followers or 1 million followers, so I must be, you know, it's all about me. And so they become like these prima donnas, and they think that, you know, we actually care about watching them do these things that they are now capable of doing because they've made all this money on YouTube. And of course, I'm sure they have thousands of devotees who are spurring them on. But I'm more than willing to wager anything that the vast majority of people who originally subscribed, in the tens of thousands, if not the hundreds of thousands for some of the bigger ones, they're not commenting. In fact, I rarely comment myself because I'm watching, unfortunately, the way it works with the set-top box. I have an old Apple TV which doesn't really get updated, but I have a YouTube app on it. It's a crappy thing, but you know, I can manipulate it fairly easily with the controller. But I don't have the ability to like or comment from doing that, and so it's just something I can't do. And I'm sure a lot of other people are like that as well. But anyway, that's just something that kind of, it's pretty annoying, and more so than being annoying, it's kind of disappointing, because there's so much that these individuals could have done and continue to do, but instead they've become like, just like it's the story, like as if it's some you know, story about them. And that's not, now again, this is different from someone who's a vlogger, or where it really is about them and they have followers who just want to see their life story. But no, these are people that started their first several years by representing themselves as, hey, I'm going to build this thing, I'm going to do this thing, come join this adventure as we do this thing. And now they've become, and now they haven't done that. This is the look at this look at this guy. This is the second peanut he's trying to put in. On the left hand side, you could already see the outline of the peanut in his cheek, And now he's trying to stuff this other one on into the right-hand side. That's outrageous. It's funny. But anyway, that's my YouTube thing. I hope there's a new, a whole new group of people that come in to YouTube and fill the void of these people who, from my standpoint, have become deadbeats. You also notice how a lot of these people, they promise, oh, we'll have a video every week and stuff like that, and then it's almost like you're lucky if they post a video every couple weeks, or so it's like, yeah, I think you have a responsibility if you commit to something and you get people involved, or at least you should identify it and come out and say, look, hey, we thank you for your, for helping us to become wealthy people and all this stuff, but now we're going to just stop and spend our money or something. I mean, I don't know. At least they would be being honest. But anyway, that's that. I also still wanted to continue on what I was ranting about in a previous one, about this idea of politics becoming the new pop culture, the national obsession. And I think, and that ties into this YouTube and I guess social media in general, where there seems to be this idea of certain ideologies or certain political opinions that are okay, but then there's others that are considered not okay, and yet it doesn't really, it's not a two-way street. It's, they'll ban somebody who's just some kind of like a libertarian, a free-spirited person that just wants to talk about anything, not particularly something on the left or the right, but may deal or criticize topics that may, in some people's minds, be one or the other. And the whole idea, in my mind, and I think it's in the mind of the Supreme Court, if you will, is that freedom of speech is freedom of speech. And, the idea of defining something and saying, oh, if you're going to be pro this or against that, we're going to ban you or demonetize you, or or choke your viewership, or do something that remove your subscribers, or what they call shadow banning, all of these various things that have been openly exposed, but they continue to do it. To me, that's another thing that just kind of ruins the whole platform. He's considering trying to get that third peanut that's underneath him right now, but I believe he'll pass on that, realizing that he's just too stuffed with peanuts. It's crazy. But anyway, that I'm sure I'm sure you've noticed this if you're a YouTuber, whether you're a content creator or just somebody that enjoys watching other things. It's just, it's like I say, it's disappointing more so than anything. I mean, I'm finding new content here and there to fill the void. But, if you're like me, you've probably noticed that over the last year, it's really become, considering that there are literally probably millions of people creating content on YouTube, it's become so hard to find even maybe 6 things to watch, a day. And in my, for all the talk that Google has about AI and these algorithms that do all this stuff, my recommended list, includes things that I don't have the slightest interest in. And so it goes, the flaws in their algorithm are totally apparent. Well, anyway, that's that for this. Just a little rant. I wanted to show you that chipmunk. Criticize social media and big tech a little bit. You know, check out my website, rockflux.com. I've got a couple of t-shirts for sale. I'm going to be putting some more stuff up there. If you're interested in supporting this, want to see more of this stuff, like, subscribe, grab a t-shirt from rockflux.com, and have a great day. Take care.